that's right. I still have to fix that. I'm sorry if I sound sick. It's because I am. Uh, though luckily I'm getting better. Let's see. Here. Particularly strange. char2.x, char2.y. Now, unless I remember incorrectly, then this that might explain it. This is rather big in comparison to the character. See, I'm gonna delete the burst object. If it is at frame 6 or further, it should really only go to frame 6, considering that there's only 0 to 6 frames. That is 7 frames total in the 0 based index. So, shouldn't go further than that, but I like to write my code with a little bit of tolerance. Okay, since I know this is ahead of this, I know that's supposed to be a negative number. Uh, negative 192. Whereas this minus this. Alright, I suppose that's fair. I did move both of the move him on both axes equally relative to the burst object, so I should have expected no differently. Alright. Break. I'm just gonna close that. Now that I have that squared away, I'm gonna replug my controller, see if it works. Well, it's still giving me the third part, so I'm going to assume that it won't. Or rather, I'm going to hypothesize that it won't. I'm going to test it anyways. And then I'm going to swap it over to keyboard controls if it proves me right. Well, my hypothesis that with these settings that my controller wouldn't work was correct. Alright, that is what I like to see mostly. I want to not see a few things, but they're important for development. But as I'm trying to see how it looks, I am going to go ahead and forego development leads for a millisecond because of other development needs. Layers. Reactivate that. And let's see how it looks. Right, it won't work with my controller. Alright, that looks pretty good. And I still have yet to change the murderer movement code to reflect that. Or to reflect how it should move. Or if that bad condition advanced and one. I'm sorry if this live stream is just something you can't listen to. It's understandable if all 0 of you want to leave or surprise me by actually being there and then wanting to leave anyways. Let's see. did I make sure that that should be right. That should be correct. That is. All right. Let's see how this works. Let's open up the debugger because I know I'm going to have to change. I don't know why I bother with this controller anymore. I'm going to unplug it for a little bit. See if that does anything. And in the meantime, I'm going to be changing this. Right. Well, it does seem to work. Except for the part where it seems to slash through the walls. You could potentially get rid of that issue by having a smaller splash part, like smaller splash thing, and then making a few of them. Excuse me for a moment. Right, let's see. Cable. Did this do anything? Absolutely not. I wonder. Well, that's not good. Will this different one work? No. But at least I have the answer for it. Also, if I remember correctly, there was a problem with uh, having that as that. I might be wrong. Maybe when I tested this earlier, I was using WASD instead of up, down, left, right. It works perfectly. That is definitely what I like to see. It's working perfectly. Does the case element actually update? It does. Right, so a quick explanation of what this all is about is right in this top left corner here. There's four things. There's you got to find the victim. You got to find all the murderers. That is, you got to occupy the same room and look in their general direction. You got to find the murder weapon, which is what we did down here. And you have to be in the room that is considered the foyer. Right here it's blinking. It means that you are in the foyer, but that it's not necessarily like end game yet. I might choose to have this solid if all players are in the foyer, because this one is a bit of a everyone gets out requirement. This up here is information display. It's typically just whatever room you're in, but I also want to enable other messages to be displayed right there. Right here, I cannot remember what this one is. Also, right below it says debug, which I imagine is just me having some debug printing thing and then having the code not there for right in this scene, but it's carried over in the external layout for it. Right here is a charge meter, which is what this does. Down here, I don't know if I'm still gonna have this, but I wanted to have like a bunch of collectibles around the house that you could find and keep. Now, I'm not going to go into the idea that you would go around. I'm not going to get into the ethics of going around a dead man's house and repossessing everything in it, despite the fact that you have no legal right to do so. Just an option if you want it. Also, there might be score attached to it. And over here, keys. So these four are going to be like regular keys, and the bottom two are supposed to be like key cards. Now, there's basically no distinction between any of these keys theoretically in code, except for the fact that all of them don't unlock the same door, except maybe like uh these three keys, you see the very simplistic cartoonish ones, might unlock like a cartoonish key door, and then the more realistic keys might unlock the realistic key door. And then the two cards would be foreseeable for unlocking card doors. Though I'm not entirely sure if I want to use up keys, though I do have the numbers right here just in case if I decide that keys will be used up rather than keys just unlock things indefinitely. Okay, I actually remember what this was for. So I think in the last actually I think that's what this is. Right. I still have to explain what this part is. Okay, I have no idea what this is for. I thought this was what this apparently is. So these are supposed to be like supporting case elements. Like these are the main three. These are just supporting case elements. If I remember correctly, this wasn't actually technically a supporting case element. It's the last will and testament. This was supposed to be like a VHS. This is a photograph, and this was a blood sample. Now, I'm not entirely sure what a man would be doing with a blood sample inside of his house, or even how that would be useful once you already found the body. But you know, I needed like another thing. Right. So that was a lot of not working, so I'm gonna pause that for a while. I'd say this one's just about done. This I'm going to go ahead and say not that. This is this character's ability, Addix's character or Addix's ability is not complete, given that it technically does nothing at this current situation. And I want to keep everything related to like weaknesses outside of the murderer's AI, just so that way the murderer cannot go ahead and just choose to ignore AI if I ever implement like actual machine learning rather than just whatever I could cobble together. Right, so stun. I want to leave this part to just decision making. Like what the murderer would in theory want to do. Alright. I'm probably going to have to add another condition to this. But let's see. Advanced or hold on. Movement factor calculation. I'm going to move this over here. Never mind, I'm just getting rid of this. It's stun is actually I should probably just do stun time. I I want to figure out how long I had it in my last game, but I don't want to go through finding. Uh, finding the particular file and then doing all the whatnot again, since it's stored on a USB. I have the USB right here, but I don't want to like blind the screen again. So let's see. The slowdown was about 12 seconds. So I'm going to say, sorry, since you are literally stopping them in their tracks, I'm going to go ahead and say 6 seconds, since it's another 0.5 penalty. Let's see. So action dot attack cooldown, which I need to set action stun time to. And I guess technically I don't need to do the condition, though I will do I'm going to move this up a bit. I don't want the murderer to be able to move at all, nor to be able to attack when they are stunned. When they are stunned, it's close to a blackout, I would imagine. Like, you could still see, but you really can't commit any actions. Given that this is supposed to be like a very dizzying stun. I imagine your accuracy and like willingness to throw a strike in such a situation would be hampered quite a bit. That is, if I am using such a word correctly. I could be using that word very incorrectly. There is one more thing I need to do, which is when stun time is greater than 0. That is when the murderer is not doing anything. Then their character should be playing animation number 4. It's the same on here, right? No, it isn't. Well, it's a good thing I was doing all of this individually. Wait a minute. Okay. Search replace. Murderers with the white cube murderer. Murderer. Gonna restart that timer there as I suck down on a new cough drop. And to test that ability, I am going to, let's see, player character ID. That will be that will be set to 1. Sorry, I had to find a position where I didn't sound weird. All right. The reason why I chose up, down, left, right instead of WASD is because you're not using the mouse in this game. 1 and 2, you're also using other keys on the keyboard for other things other than directions. And I don't want to break your attention with your left hand trying to access those keys. Well, I mean, you could probably do that. I guess if you're moving, you won't be using your skill, which I just used up there. Press the reset button that I have, the debug button. Haha, and I'm not even murdered, which I'm thinking might be a bit of an oversight. But, I suppose it does give you a chance to not die, which is a nice thing. I am thinking that is way too long. I am thinking that it's just not going to come back. I'm thinking it's well over 6 seconds. But just in case I am delusional and it's only been like 1.5 seconds, which would be very odd, I'm going to count out 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. All right. All right. Murder movement. It's probably because this isn't getting deleted. All right, let's see. Yeah, no, it's not getting deleted. First, I'm going to move this down by 1, copy and paste it, and hit box. Now, hitboxes should really only come into play with abilities, or at least when they're attached to players. All right, let's see. 1. Okay, so is there. Probably why. Because I program in such a way that if you threw it into a boiling pot in a little bit, you would have some fine pasta. Maybe it would taste a little weird since my code is uh, not functioning correctly, but that is something I'm working on stream because I couldn't manage to do it. And by manage to do it, I mean manage to, you know, push myself to work before I started streaming. All right, that's fair. That is fair. I think I also want them to lose character tracking information. Uh, so for that, I will just copy this. Bring this over here. How did I get rid of that? That was necessary to keep for that point. Right. But if that is set, then I want this to be cleared. All right. Factor calculation. So, I'm okay. Last time I just tested whether or not it works. This time I'm gonna taste test it, see how long I feel is correct for this particular ability. Here you go, later me. You'll know when exactly the stream started based off of calculations. Playing window. I like that I'm updating this game again. And particularly, I like that part. Just a tad longer than I would think is what I gotta rebalance that. I think the at least the standard murderer, the white cube murderer, should have a little bit shorter. I imagine the blue cube might have a longer time, but 4.5. I'm gonna try 4.5. Now, I feel like 4.5 is going to be that magic number that I hit that is going to work out real well. Yeah, I think that's like the like maybe I would extend it to 5 just for simplicity. Maybe I'd go down to 4. I feel like 4.5 is just about the right number. Like you get enough time to run away, or I mean, I guess technically you'd get enough time to walk away if you just had that set and you were already close to a door. That expert mode set where you can't run anywhere. You get enough time for that, but you also uh you get enough time for, or you don't get too much time. Like you can't just go ahead and like stun him over here, run over here, get something and run back. You like by that time he might wake up. And in fact, if I really wanted to, I could add a little bit of a random time to the, like if I was dropping it down to 4, I might add like uh a a random amount of time up to like uh a second and a half in half-second increments. Uh, but yeah, I find that delightful. All right, I think I can call that complete, at least for the white white murderer, which will be kind of the basis for the blue murderer. I can deactivate that. And wait, I want to see one thing. I want to see where this goes. How far out it extends. I feel like that's a very small hitbox, but that's not necessarily that bad. Let's see. All right, the player is definitely right in the center of it, which is good. And then again, it covers like what about up to his arms? Yeah, I feel like that's all right. Excuse me once more. Sorry about that. So, uh, on to character 3, or Gimel. Now, I have a feeling that I'm going to change up his ability a bit. Quite a bit. So, currently, he has no programming for his ability. Okay, I shouldn't say he has no programming for his ability. He has very little programming for his ability. This is because Gimel is currently the only character that, when moving around or when using ability, they can move around. But as I currently press C, which is the button to activate abilities, nothing is happening. I'm gonna save this though, and I'm gonna see here. As Gimel is perfectly able to walk around during the use of his ability. And in fact, I should probably get rid of a lot of this, since he is able to uh, use his ability before it's fully charged, since this is more of a constant drain kind of thing. Or I shouldn't say constant drain, but use drain rather than a single shot. So then again, I could go ahead and instead just give a timer uh, to him using the ability. Uh, all right, there we go. This is still chart 2, but now here is chart 3. Three. Ability. Now, uh, Gimel's ability is a little bit more uh, I would say client side than server side. As in, it really only shows up for the person who has who's playing as Gimel, rather than showing up on the, like, for everyone. I mean, technically, when Gimel is currently using Gimel Vision, which is his ability, you will be able to tell, because he'll have a few extra animations rather than his normal walk cycle for down, left, and or down, right, and left. He'll have eyes closed, down, right, and left. Now, if I wanted to make this server side, then I could also I could implement a few things. So I think the first thing I might want to do is to just kind of make the murderers ignore him, even if they do see him. I mean, I already have the plan for him to be able to walk through particular pieces of collision, but I don't think I actually have that set up. So I'm gonna test that. I am a little thankful that I decided to go ahead and make a different texture for this. So I'll be able to easily tell if I have not programmed it. So Gimel, just like anyone, shouldn't really be able to go through these, but with one exception that only applies to Gimel, which is under use of his ability, he will be able to walk through these particular pieces of collision. But it doesn't seem that way at the moment. No, no, no. That is because he is currently completely unaffected by it. Oh, alright, I don't want to go ahead and deal with all of this. I don't wanna deal with this. So in earlier builds, if I remember correctly, in earlier compiles of the game, uh Gimel's special collision was just regular pieces of collision with special data attached to them. Which worked fine, but I don't want to rely on that. Right, I could oh right, I can just this will be simpler than I made it out to be. Collision up INGU, if I remember correctly, IGCU. Right, because M is for murderer, so invisible Gimel collision up. Only the selected event. GCD. Huh. How much time's left? 13 minutes. All right. Oh, right. I can't just copy these over from here to here. Goodness, it did not register. Otherwise, I'd be in a world of pain. Or actually, I could just Control Z it. I think it didn't register because I didn't have the event selected, if I remember correctly. If I don't remember correctly, that's just a sign that my memory is bad. And also, I wasn't paying attention. Probably both. All right. This should now work. It should work just like any other piece of collision, whether I'm using my ability or not, but it should work. I will change it later. That is, after I do this test, in theory, if my timer doesn't run out before I do this test. That is the problem. I did not factor in for the fact that I didn't calculate this for uh for running. Because when you're running through it, just kind of walking through it actually. Alright, player. This you can copy down. HGCD, IGCL, IGCR. I'm not gonna have fun programming special collision. Now am I? But I gotta do it. So let's see. I kind of want to avoid just setting a particular variable that technically any character could have set. But, you know, I gotta do what I have to do. I could do a check to see if the character is character 3, and then test whether or not the character then should be able to. But you know what? This is client side code, which I mean technically the server will run this code too, but it will run it as a client to itself. All right. So abilities, host ability use, timer. I'm going to have this be 15 seconds. Once it's 15 seconds, two things. Uh, ability.use is 0, ability.gimbal is 0. Actually, I'm going to change this to collision.gimbal for the extra special collision rule for Gimbal to ignore particular pieces. Actually, I wasn't thinking when I put that there, but it works perfectly. Because it will be 0 when the character is not using the ability. Also, I should probably put this in client code, since the client has to know that. uh, right, so let's see. How does that fare over here? Rook. R3. Mil. Char 3 is, or char3 is 1. Char3 is 0. Working on char3 is 1. Collision.giml. Wrong part. Abilities.host. Collision.giml should be set to 0. I'm gonna also set, you know what? Ability.giml. I'm changing it to that because it's going to have a little bit more of a generalized effect because of how I'm going to make murderers ignore Gimel. Now I can get rid of this. Murderer movement. Action, stimuli. All right. Okay, yeah, that checks out. Let's see. Murderer movement. 2. Just so that way it doesn't try to pick someone who it shouldn't. It will still have the side effect that it will try to chase after what it last saw, but it shouldn't actually hit you, I think, because it doesn't know you're there. Attack. That is controlled over here. State 4, attack. Okay, I suppose if you stand exactly there, it will still attack you. But if you move outside of its range, uh, when it tries to attack, that is, if you're no longer in collision with it, you should be fine. This one is going to be kind of the hardest ability to taste test, just because I'm not entirely certain with how I want it to play out. How I originally wanted it to play out was that you could go through secret walls, uh, and I think you knew what room the murderer was in, but I don't know if I want that much knowledge to be available to you. I should probably have code to immediately change that. My working timer is done. I'm not entirely sure, but I feel like the ability should have ended. Just to be completely sure, though, I will count to 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know these seconds are 7, exactly 8, 1 second long, 9, but I'm trying 10, the best that I can. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Plus, I think they're longer because, uh, well, I don't exactly have an explanation, but I do think that they're longer. So that means that if I was able to count that high, it should have definitely been over. Abilities.host. Oh, right. I actually have to count. That would be helpful. All right, after this test, I am going to go offline. So if you were here and all just ghosted the chat, thank you for showing up. Uh, if you want to find these live streams that will be very soon disappearing off of Twitch, they are available on YouTube in my uh, Deadstream's playlist, or Deadstream's alternate channel, actually. Uh, if you have trouble finding it, I, I think I may still need to modify my Twitch page to have a link to my main channel. But if you find my main channel, uh, it'll be the only other channel that is linked from my main channel. It should be very easy to find. But if you don't want to wait for me to modify my Twitch page so that way it shows up. You can find it kind of easily by searching for uh, Miles Dash Deadstreams. I call them Deadstreams because they are no longer live. Alright, since my timer is up and it's 11:14:26 as I speak, I am going to say goodbye. Auf Wiedersehen. I am ending the stream.